Ladies and gentlemen, I am Thomas Drake, and welcome back into WTW Mayhem, the first Mayhem after Game Over, and we are kicking it off with our brand new WTW Champion, King Krunch, as he defeated Chase Chambers in the main event of Game Over with a Prince Killer. Chase Chambers told King Krunch, "You don't think I'm going to do what it takes," and went to prove it after frustration from being unable to put Krunch away. Tries to use a kendo stick. His best friend Jackson Hendrix stops him from using it to prevent him from going down the same path Hendrix went down, and it all ended with Krunch walking out as WTW Champion. Let's see what he has to say.
Doesn't everything just feel right again? Doesn't the earth just feel at peace? The universe feeling balanced again? Especially Grayson Borden. Shouldn't he be feeling real zen right now, knowing he's got a champion like me? At Game Over, over 5,000 people got to watch a coronation of King Krunch. Got to watch me beat their favorite little wrestler, Chase Chambers. Over 5,000 people had a front row seat. You know what they did? Nothing. They just got to sit and watch greatness. I knew he didn't have what it takes. Let's talk about WTW for a little bit, for a moment here. Without me, especially me as champion, WTW, it's just another little internet wrestling company. But with this on my shoulder right here, isn't WTW just the greatest empire to ever exist? Oh, everything is perfect. Oh, the birds are out chirping. The sun is setting like it should. Thanos would even be happy here. But as time runs out, we get to find out who will be a future answer to a trivia question of who lost to King Krunch at time runs out in his very first title defense. Because there will be a first, there will be a second, there will be a lot of title defenses. This baby, she ain't going nowhere. WTW needs King Krunch. King Krunch is not leaving this throne anytime soon.
Well, King Krunch not exactly humble, which we've known to come and expect. His last run in WTW, the longest reign in WTW history, the most title defenses. Will this one be of the same nature as the first one? Who will his first challenger be at time runs out? We will find that out soon. But King Krunch, cocky as ever. And as you guys know, Ace Armbruster, Juggernaut were supposed to collide at Game Over. Juggernaut found himself arrested. The match was rescheduled for Mayhem, but Ace Armbruster has sustained an injury that will put him out of action indefinitely with no current timetable to return, which then brings us to our main event for tonight, Jackson Hendrix versus WTF. Here in tonight's main event coming up here in just a little bit later, Hendrix WTF for the first time. Speaking of the devil, Jackson Hendrix. We have not heard from Jackson Hendrix since the incident at Game Over with Chase Chambers that transpired that I mentioned earlier. How does he feel about everything? What is next for Jackson Hendrix? He was supposed to be the guy that was challenging for the title at Game Over, but King Krunch escalated, assaulted people. Hendrix stepped aside because he felt like it was for the greater good. Let's see what he has to say here following after Game Over. You know, at Game Over, everybody saw what happened. King Krunch walks away WTW Champion. Chase Chambers falls after I come out. And I want to address this because the reason why I came out there was to prevent my best friend from making the same mistakes I made all those years ago. You know, all those years ago when I failed to put Wesley Walker out of power, when I failed to defeat King Krunch, when I failed to become WTW champion, I started to subscribe to this idea that you had to become somebody like King Krunch to beat somebody like King Krunch, that you had to be ruthless to sit atop the throne of WTW. And I wanted to stop my friend from adopting that same philosophy because I spent 6 years realizing how wrong I was. I spent 6 years hating myself. And I know everybody wants to know how Chase Chambers is doing. And to be honest, I wish I knew. I've called him, I've texted him, I've stopped by his house, I've called his family. I haven't heard from him. And when Grayson Bourne told me I was next at Time Runs Out, I was hesitant. I was hesitant because I truly believe that that next title shot belongs to Chase Chambers. But if Chase is not in a spot to show up, then somebody's got to stop King Krunch, and I'm willing to step up to the plate. You know, when you look at WTW history, King Krunch, Jackson Hendrix, two sides of the same coin, and Time Runs Out will be the latest chapter in the most storied rivalry in WTW. A rivalry that, self-admittedly so, is one-sided. I've came up short. I've failed to defeat him over and over and over again, and I'm sure he's going to tell you guys that, and he's not lying. But what makes me more equipped at Time Runs Out than I ever have been in the past is because I know what I'm fighting for this time. Last time it was for me. All those years ago, it was for me. It was about becoming champion. This time, it's about becoming a champion that our fans, our viewers, everybody that makes this possible, that they can be proud of. And look, I'm not going to promise that I'm going to beat him. I know statistically that's unlikely. What I can promise you guys is I'm going to do everything I can. I will fight until I can't fight anymore. And every single one of those things that I do, it's going to be for all of you. And I'm going to do my best.
Well, strong words there from Jackson Hendrix. King Krunch, Jackson Hendrix, for the first time since WTW's returned at Time Runs Out in the main event for the WTW Championship. Who will walk away the victor?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Deuce Duffler, and I'm here with former Next Gen champion Jetpack. Now, Jetpack, after losing your title in the way that you did, and then coming up short against RELLIK at GameOver, what's going through your head?
You know, Deuce, as much as I would love to be getting back in line for the Next Gen Championship right now, I just can't do that yet. RELLIK and I have some serious unfinished business. See, this whole time, I've been ignoring all of his mind games. I've ignored all of his cryptic bullshit. And it might have cost me at GameOver. Now, I don't think RELLIK is this complicated, complex guy. He's one-dimensional. He's see-through. He doesn't care about wins and losses. He's just here to ruin people. And if he can get his opponent to sink to his level of morality, then he's perfectly fine with taking a loss. Well, I just see that as a challenge. At GameOver, I got ahead of myself, but I learned what it takes to beat RELLIK. And I think I can do it without letting it corrupt me. RELLIK, at Time Runs Out, I want a rematch.
Well, very strong words from the former champion. Now, you're going to need to stay energized and focused as you prepare yourself for the next match against RELLIK. Do you have a plan to do that?
It's actually funny you mentioned that, Deuce. Recently, I bought a tub of W Energy from W.GG, and it's been extremely beneficial in helping me prepare for all of my matches. You see, Deuce, W is clean energy, meaning you don't get any crashes or jitters. All it does is it helps you lock in and focus. Right now on their website, they have over 15 flavors to choose from, and if you use code WTW BYW at checkout, you can get 10% off your order.
Well, very good. I'll have to try that when I get home, Jetpack. Well, good luck in your next match.
What the hell is RELLIK doing out here? The same man that defeated Jetpack at GameOver with an ambush here during Jetpack's interview with Deuce Duffler. Jetpack trying to fight back, throwing some punches, RELLIK with a boot straight to the stomach, throwing Jetpack's head directly into our entrance stage, and going for that mind warp, sending yet another message to Jetpack as he plans still to corrupt Jetpack, to do everything he can to corrupt him.
But, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, it is time for our match here tonight on Mayhem, episode 12, as Jackson Hendrix takes on WTF. Jackson Hendrix, the man we now know to be the #1 contender for King Krunch's WTW Championship, and time runs out. The most storied rivalry in WTW history, objectively, gets its next chapter and time runs out. But the question is, will Jackson Hendrix be able to build some momentum as he heads into that title match at time runs out? The biggest match of Hendrix's career, at least since our return in August of 2025, as he takes on King Krunch. Jackson Hendrix not exactly having the best record against King Krunch. Can the luck go the other way at time runs out? But he can't look too far ahead, as he has WTF here tonight. WTF, not exactly known for his wins here in WTW, but he's resilient. He's a strong performer. He just hasn't found a way to close the deal and get his hand raised at the end of the contest. Will he be able to? This would be a huge, huge upset if he were able to knock off Jackson Hendrix here. And here we go. Referee Kate Hawk ringing the bell. Jackson Hendrix, WTF Mayhem 12. These two, sign of respect. WTF is bizarre as always. Jackson Hendrix, WTF, first time colliding since at least original WTW. Collar elbow tie between the two men. Side headlock control here by Jackson Hendrix. We know the technical prowess of Jackson Hendrix. It is how he always comes ahead early on in his match. Off the ropes and a big shoulder block by WTF. I think Hendrix a little stunned there. WTF getting the upper hand a little bit early, I'm sure much to everyone's surprise. And another collar elbow tie up. Going to the wrist control, into a wrist lock to WTF. Elbow over elbow, into the hammer lock position. Spinning over into a front face lock. He is wrenching that front face lock. An underhook and a kick over. Front face lock takeover. WTF kicking out at a 2 count. Hendrix quick with that offense there. Quick with the holds to transition into the cover there. And he now has WTF wrenched in a chin lock as he's grounding WTF. The larger opponent here in this chin lock position, Jackson Hendrix, WTF here on Mayhem. Will WTF be able to battle out of this chin lock position? Here is Jackson Hendrix is wrenching it. WTF trying to make it up to his feet here. Hendrix still maintaining control in that side headlock control. Still wrenching that headlock. And going into a headlock takeover as he grounds WTF again, once again, keeping WTF grounded. WTF just really has no choice but to stay under Hendrix's control on the mat here as Hendrix has him planted. Hendrix just wrenching that headlock. WTF rolling into the cover. 1, 2. Quick roll through there by WTF. Hendrix able to catch on as he able to kick out by the 2 count. Back into the side. Headlock control there for Jackson Hendrix. WTF tried to pull a fast one. Hendrix had it scouted, but he did get a 2 count. Smart strategy there by WTF as he gets back up to his feet, trying to battle out of it. Throwing punches to the midsection to Jackson Hendrix in a massive stalling back suplex. You see the back, the way the impact landed for Jackson Hendrix on that lower back. WTF able to hit a back suplex on Jackson Hendrix. Roll through cover. Just an early 1 count here by WTF. But what a good stalling back suplex. Hendrix back up, throwing blows to WTF. Trying to get WTF back up to his feet. Wrenching that arm into a front face, going for a standing vertical suplex. Plants him for the standing vertical suplex into the cover early. Just a shy of a 2 count there for Jackson Hendrix as he is wrenching back into the chin lock here. We know Jackson Hendrix, he likes to dictate the pace, he likes to dictate the control of the match, he likes to dictate where it goes, and he does that by his technical advantage that he typically has over the majority of his opponents. And so far here early on Mayhem, he's had that advantage over WTF here as he is grounding him once again in a chin lock. We have seen side headlock control. We've seen chin locks. We've seen front face lock takeovers. Jackson Hendrix just using his knowledge of holds to ground WTF. WTF battling it out with those elbows. WTF him going for a standing vertical suplex. He's planning him. Once again, Hendrix holding that lower back after the standing vertical suplex. We saw the same lower back hit on the stalling back suplex. WTF once again going into the cover here. 1 and another, and just shy of a 2 count there as Hendrix survives. Referee Kate Hawk ensuring the count. But WTF has been quick thinking here. He's able to counter. Jackson Hendrix is able to keep him grounded, but WTF has been able to do enough to fight out of it as he's once again getting him back up to his feet. Irish whip by WTF. Going for a close one. Hendrix ducks in a massive swing blade by Jackson Hendrix.
Hendrix hitting off the ropes, and a kick straight to the midsection of WTF. A nice combination there by Jackson Hendrix going for the cover and getting a 2 count for the first time in this match. WTF still surviving for a 2 count. WTF Irish whipped, went for that clothesline attempt. Hendrix able to duck it, followed up with a sling blade and the drop kick straight to the side section of WTF, planting both of his feet into the midsection as he gets WTF up again, putting him in that fireman's carry position. Ushigoroshi right onto the knee. You see the way WTF's head bounced right off the knee into the cover. And once again, WTF surviving for a 2 count, but Hendrix is getting later and later counts. If he can keep his foot on the gas, will he be able to put WTF away here as he continues to try to build momentum in this match and build momentum as we head towards time runs out when he faces his greatest, most historical rival. But he's going for another Irish whip into the corner to WTF. And a flying forearm strike by Jackson Hendrix. A stand-up enziguri, planting WTF right on the ridge of the nose, dropping WTF as he is grounded in the corner. Hendrix off the other post, and a running drop kick again to the midsection of WTF. Hendrix following it up with strikes. Quick thinking there, not laying his foot on the gas. Once again going for the cover, and WTF once again surviving for a 2 count there to his Kate Hawk ensures. WTF finding a way to survive here, but Hendrix has been able to hit some of that patented offense we've come to know, to see him and be used to seeing him hit. But WTF has been no slouch. He's able to get some offense in, but right now Hendrix firmly under control, in this match on Mayhem as he throws a right-hand bomb to that of WTF, following it up with a forearm strike as he looks to get WTF back up to his feet here, and a spinning back kick to the midsection. And an overhead Pele kick right to the neck of WTF as WTF drops to the mat. Hendrix looking to maybe again to go to the cover, dragging good ring awareness by Hendrix to make sure WTF can't get a rope break there, but he still survives for the 2 count, following that spinning back kick and overhead Pele kick to WTF. Hendrix in firm control, but WTF staying resilient. We did see a sign of respect shown by both of these men. Both of these men generally considered fan favorites here in WTW, as bizarre as WTF is, as bizarre as he is. He's throwing his club and blows the back with a snap DDT, planting Hendrix's head directly on the top of the mat here, and it looks like WTF could be going for a cover of his own. 1, 2, Hendrix knew exactly where he was at in the ring, able to get his foot on the rope for the 2 count there. Kate Hawk, good officiating there by Kate Hawk as he catches the rope break there. WTF patting him on the head, telling him smart. Thank you, WTF. WTF wrenching him in that front face lock, right into the front face lock, taking a page out of Jackson Hendrix's book and trying to keep his opponent grounded, as we've seen Hendrix do, and WTF has been laying down those clubbing blows on the back of Jackson Hendrix as he maintains that firm control in the grounded front face lock as he gets Hendrix up to his feet here. Hendrix battling back with those elbow strikes, lugging WTF up again in the fireman's carry, and a massive Samoan driver by Jackson Hendrix for the cover. 2, and another kick out by WTF. WTF surviving here on Mayhem. What a resilient performance, and that's something we've seen him. We saw it in the Gauntlet Rumble. We've seen it against Juggernaut. We saw it against Rakesh on Mayhem 8, which was actually WTF's last appearance on WTW. His biggest problem is he's just not able to find himself in the win column. Can he change his luck tonight as Jackson Hendrix with an Irish whip in the corner? WTF counters with an Irish whip of his own. You see the impact of that corner on Jackson Hendrix's back. WTF throwing both his arms around the ropes, and a big chop. A massive chop to the chest of Jackson Hendrix by WTF, and he's looking to go for another chop, planting it right on the chest of Jackson Hendrix. You see the damage, you see the pain set in there. Irish whip to the corner, and once again, Hendrix stunned in the corner. What could WTF have in mind? We've seen him hit that stinger splash, going for it. Hendrix able to get out of harm's way, caught in a blue thunder bomb, that signature Jackson Hendrix offense, but WTF once again surviving for the 2 count as Jackson Hendrix had WTF scouted there on the stinger splash, able to follow it up with a blue thunder bomb, but WTF is in serious, serious trouble here if he cannot find a way to get back in the driver's seat, but I am not sure if he's going to be able to do that as Hendrix lugging him up for the fireman's carry position, possibly looking for that detonation kick, and planting WTF right on the temple with that detonation kick, going into the cover. 1, 2, and 3. Jackson Hendrix is going to defeat WTF here on this episode of Mayhem as we go into time runs out.
And just as I said there, King Krunch, Jackson Hendrix in the main event of time runs out for the WTW Championship on June 25th, but we will see you in 2 weeks for the next Mayhem.